Shout out to all my inner lights out there for tuning to the star in you. It's Jonas. Please subscribe, like the page, and share with others. Now let's get into it. Bruce Lee. He was born November 27, 1940. That make him a Sagittarius. It's a fire sign. The sign Sagittarius begins on November 22nd and ends on December 21st. With Bruce Lee being a fire sign, he's gonna be compatible with other fire signs, which are Aries and Leos. But he's also gonna be compatible with other air signs as well, which are Geminis, Libras, and Aquarius. And he's definitely gonna have a type of Aquarius with certain dynamics within his components. But however though, with Bruce Lee being a Sagittarius, he's gonna be ruled by the planet Jupiter. And with the planet Jupiter, there's a planet of expansion. The native Sagittarius, such as Bruce Lee, tend to be very ambitious. This is what Sagittarius are known for, which is definitely evident in Bruce Lee. You know, he never settled for less. He was very ambitious, learning different techniques, also being very studious, being a philosopher, learning physiology. And you know that could do to the Sagittarius wits. It really complimented them, because the native Sagittarius is very smart, could think off their feet, which you can definitely see in Bruce's interviews. You know, him being a philosopher and just being very humorous at the same time. And this also complements with that 27, you know, 9 frequencies of Aries, because Aries are very funny. But you see that Jupiter, that planet of expansion, how it complimented Bruce Lee, you know, through his lifetime, through his short time and his life. But he was very successful. He reached great heights within that time. You know what I'm saying? He was a businessman. He brought that skill set, his fine style to other countries, and other people adapted too. But also, you see, he was also an actor, so he had that entertainment aspect too, on which Sagittarius are really known for, and they're great at. You know, the native Sagittarius, you know, they could come off looking timid. But however, when they're like in a particular element, you know, where they feel pressure, it's just something that boils within them. This phoenix just rises, you know, and they let that fire spark, and it can be very entertaining within that moment. The fear just goes away and they just jump right into it. They are originally known as the 9th month, and that 9 is ruled by Aries, so within that dynamic, that's how you see Sagittarius could just be out of nowhere, just explosive, though they come have that timid energy in the beginning. But also another thing you gotta keep in mind with Bruce Lee being a Sagittarius, he's a mutable sign. And you know, one thing I would say about mutable signs, you know, very flexible, have a lot of versatility, they know how to adapt to situations and circumstances. But with mutable signs such as Sagittarius, you know, Sagittarius are very multi-talented, but however, they tend to flip-flop, you know, because they get bored very easily. But with Bruce Lee being born in November and not December, this highly might not be the case, because the native Scorpio, you know, they're very meticulous, they really analyze situations, they're strategic, and they make sure to execute whatever they have in mind. So this works out for Bruce Lee being a Sagittarius, because the Sagittarius is multi-talented. So you know, if each talent that he has, because of that Scorpio energy being born in November, he'll be able to focus on it and then master that, move to the next. And little by little, next thing you know, he has all these great skills and become a master. Definitely, Bruce Lee had a lot of mastery within him. You know, being born in November with the Sagittarius energy, and also him being born in the year of the dragon, by the hour and by the year, which is very rare. They say it's like a great omen, so all that is kind of crazy.
Perfect.
You are now listening to a Cheddar production.
You know, when I say it's kind of crazy, you know, him being born the year of the dragon, by the year of the hour, so that's a lot of fire, and also him being a Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. And number 27 is ruled by Aries, and you know, Aries is fire as well, so that's a lot of fire that he had to learn to discipline and tame himself. But luckily, with him being born in November, and the native Scorpios are very calculated and reserved, this helps him. And also the 27 being ruled by Aries, and Aries rules Mars. Aries is ruled by Mars, and Scorpios too, so the planet of war. So when you're ruled by that planet, you know how to be very strategic before you strike. But when you do strike, you better believe it's gonna be a great attack. So, and you know, remember I said earlier, you know, Bruce Lee being born on the 11th month, you know, with that Scorpio energy right there. If you notice the 11th month out of Western astrology with the zodiacs, Scorpio is the only one that has that master number, you know, 11. So you see a lot of Scorpios are very accomplished. They like to build on top of what they have, and they keep going. They always look full. They always look like they've been in the game for a long time, you know what I'm saying? And that also goes for Aquarius too. Shout out to them for them being the original 11th month in Eastern astrology. And you can see that same aspect too. But it's definitely complimented Bruce Lee, you know, being able to master what he has and develop over time to be so great. And Sagittarius themselves, you know, They're definitely hot-headed and like to fight on sight type of a sign, all dependent on the situations. So it's good that Bruce Lee was born in November, to discipline himself and be more tame and had that blessing, all by divinity, of course, accordingly. But Bruce Lee being a Sagittarius also, another thing with Sagittarius and him being born the 9th, you see that generosity, not being selfish, the techniques that he learned and brought it to the table for others to learn as well. I remember one time he said something about one of his hardest opponents was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, basketball player. He played for the Lakers, y'all know about him, a legend. And he said it was really hard for him to fight him because of his height. And he actually had skills, he could reach, and so it was hard for him to reach, So I guess arms too short to box with gods type of metaphor. But yeah, so Bruce Lee was very generous, and him being born at 27, that Aries energy, Aries are known for being humanitarians. So you see Bruce Lee is very chill, he put a lot out there with his knowledge, his wisdom, and went about it in an orderly fashion way with a lot of discipline. He really did care, so you could see in his heart and the way he presented himself in front of cameras and interviews that he just had that big heart overall at the end. But also, Bruce Lee being born at 27, you see that 2 and 7 frequency, they're both ruled by water. So you see that compliment right there of him being born November, everything's in sync and very aligned. But with that number 2 also, it shows he knows how to work well with others. He's very intuitive, so he can really feel the opponents out, when he's in that ring with the match. But also, just really cool-headed too with family members being drawn with that number. Both in that number 7, it shows that he's very studious too. 7 ruled by Pisces, very calculated, could be in that meditative state, meaning peace and time to themselves. And with that number 7 too, he probably wrote a lot as well. You know what I'm saying? Creating a lot of different things. Definitely you see with the different techniques, like the 1-inch punch. With the number 7 aspect there, it shows, a person that has invention. That's what you get with the number 7, people that know how to create. So all this comes together, to see the men that we have in front of us today. It shows why he was so deep. Though he's very entertaining and funny at the same time, but with that element of the 7 being very reserved, very studious, you see that he was a philosopher, but he also studied physiology, and he pretty much worked every single part of the muscle in his body and toned it out. So with all these numbers coming together, him being with that Mars energy too, in between with that number 27, you see within a short period of time, he definitely kept the line in order for this mastery to reach its full potential for all of us to see. It was definitely amazing. Shout out to Bruce Lee, for showing us your mastery and diversity within martial arts, and doing it all for open heart. We salute you. Hey, another thing before we go, definitely have to point out, Sagittarius, with their sign being fire and all that, they're known as the Phoenix because sometimes Sagittarius go through a great downfall within their lifetime, because that 12th month, that sacrifice number attached to it. But however, though, they tend to rise from their ashes if they work hard and they're diligent and they stay consistent, they don't become flip-floppy. You know what I'm saying? So they become known as the sign of the Phoenix, rising from the ashes. And Bruce Lee, back in the day, when he was a youth, his family member used to call him Saifan. And interesting enough, the name Saifan, translates to small phoenix, which kind of blew my mind a little bit, him being a Sagittarius, and the Sagittarius known as the Phoenix sign too. So all that being attached and, aligned together. So I thought that was kind of dope. The name Saifan, has a female energy to it, so I guess in the long run it really complimented Bruce Lee, with him having a masculine principle to him, him being a male, also be born a Sagittarius in the 27, which had masculine energies to it. So with the female energy there, being called Saifan when he's a youth, grown, being nurtured with his family and everything, it all aligned right and properly. With names that have a particular energy to it, so with him being called that since a youth, it definitely gave energy and compliment to him as he grew older, to give balance, that yin and the yang at the end.
To a Cheddar production.
Shout out to all my inner lights out there. It's Junus once again. Thank you for tuning to The Star and You. Definitely had a great time recording this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the content as well. And remember, every Thursday there's new videos on The Star and You. Please subscribe, like the page, and share with others. Hope you enjoyed the content. Be your best out there and be blessed out there. And remember, guys, always, let your inner light shine.
You are now to a Cheddar production.